Basaraba, luthier for Bass One Guitars in Vancouver. And so, if it's really interesting, like myself being a beginner, just learning in the last year, and I've got my very first Telecaster, and what would you say a beginner should be mindful of in terms of looking after their first guitar, the upkeep, changing strings, getting it serviced, that sort of thing?
Well, first off, I guess when you buy a guitar out of a store, it's been set up to factory specs, which is just getting it close, making sure there's the major problems are worked out. It definitely needs to, for example, a guy just bought a Gibson from a big store. He came directly to my shop because it was needing a bad setup. So I guess the maintenance for a beginner would be keeping the neck straight, keeping the electronics cleaned out. If it's an acoustic guitar, keeping it humidified so the neck doesn't twist, and then you'll have problems, right? So, a lot of people will leave not knowing they'll leave their guitar beside a heater or something, to do with steam or a kitchen or something in the window where the sun can hit it. But basically, upkeep for a beginner, I would just say, take it to a professional the first time. After he'll take you through the steps of intonation, action, height adjustments, neck adjustments. Then you can sort of start doing it yourself, but you really have to know the basics, how it all fits together. You can't just straighten out a neck without doing the rest of the setup as well, because they slowly get closer and closer to perfection. As you make an adjustment at the bottom, you make an adjustment at the top. But I mean, basically, the original question, I guess, was just for a beginner about caring for your instrument. There's a lot of online info, and basically, I'm still perfecting my setup. I've been doing it for 12 years. They're getting nicer every day, but I'm assuming that even a master luthier will keep improving his craft. Just learning about your instruments and history, as far as what different guitar players are. Stevie Ray Vaughan, his guitar tech, wrote down his specifications, so now we can copy that. So if the guy wants to play like Stevie Ray Vaughan and have his action set like that, he can bring it in, and we literally have the measurements with a digital measuring tool. So kind of a cheat, but that's how they get that tone. Or Jimmy Page, the guy wants to sound like Led Zeppelin. So there's measurements that you can sort of adapt and copy and make it turn it into a really nice setup for someone if they don't know how to set up their own.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I'm looking forward to the journey from just doing basic bar chords and power chords now into the nuance that you can go down in the future. That's really fascinating.
Well, you don't want your action to be off the fingerboard. You want it to be as low as possible without buzzing, so that you can, get faster. And you don't want to be breaking your hand trying to play guitar. That's why people will come and drop it off for a couple of days and have us use the one silver, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Sure.
In terms of, yourself, let's go back a little bit in time. You mentioned that you were an active musician in the 90s here, and what has been your involvement in the scene here in Vancouver?
Well, I've had a few bands. There was a band called Coney Boy that I was singing and playing guitar and writing songs. There was in a band called Seismic, which is sort of the 90s sort of post-grunge hardcore era. With a bunch of guys that are, I make so many guitars now, I'm playing less. By the end of the day, I'm kind of getting sick of guitars,
Yeah.
But there was a pretty good scene back in the 90s when Vancouver was really rocking. It was bands like Brand New Unit, Spark Marker, Stovebolt. There's a straight edge band called Strain, very heavy. And they're all still good friends. They're all still doing the music thing, and some of them even have, fairly successful bands. Carpenter is out right now, and a band my friend Squid is in, who a lot of people know in Vancouver. Tim McGuinness is in a band called Meat Pills. There's a lot of electronica going on in Vancouver, so the people that really like rock and roll or really like playing guitar are still doing it. Everyone else has turned into a DJ or a clubber, right? So
yeah.
We're still trying to hold on to the rock.
And it will not die. It will not. And it's good to see that a shop like yours is existing and holding that core there for people who can. It just helps them along their journey. Like myself, I'm an example. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's nice when people come in and they have this preconceived notion of this old luthier, and then they see me. I'm like an old skateboarder, So
yeah.
They can't believe that someone like me is cranking out guitars every day. But it's just honing the craft and just building it up over time, and like I said, sticking with it. You know, everybody gives up after they don't make money in the first few years, but if you just get over that hill, then you start to make the bucks, and then you can, you know, offer nicer instruments. You know, so, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, great. And just finally, I mean, are there any specials at the moment or anything like, again, I guess for someone like maybe buying their first guitar or someone new, you know, basic sort of price ranges or entry models, things like that? Or
there is a lot of companies are manufacturing in China right now, and they're actually getting pretty damn nice. Other than the fact that, you know, someone not wanting to buy a lower-end guitar, their paint jobs are getting very nice. They play nice. It's just some of them are made out of, you know, a less desirable type of wood or something like this. But you can grab a nice guitar for $200 these days, all the way up to, you can break the bank and spend $5,000 or $6,000, right? So, but at our shop, we offer an entry-level guitar, a middle-price guitar, and some expensive stuff as well. So we've got a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah.
And, you know, me being a luthier, I can definitely point them in the direction of, you know, what do you like to listen to? Do you want to sound like Eric Clapton, or do you want to sound like Jimmy Page? You know, so I can definitely point people in the right direction more than a good salesman can do that too. But
yeah.
At least I know the ins and outs of, you know, why you want a guitar as opposed to another guitar.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, great. Thanks. One last thing too. Any memorable gigs here in the city that you've been to that really stand out over the years?
Well, there was a band back in the 90s called Refused from Sweden. Didn't get a chance to see them. They were also hooked up through Spark Marker. We're friends with them from touring Europe and such, being on a Swedish record label, I believe. But we caught them. They did a reunion tour, and we just caught them like a month ago in Vancouver. It was the best show I've ever seen. True to my teenage roots, and just everybody from the old scene was there. It was amazing. It blew my mind. They were awesome.
I'm going to look them up because I've got Swedish roots myself. So I'm
Refused. You got to listen to them and listen to everything.
Wow.
Because they're not making it anymore except for the reunion tour, and
wow.
Definitely have to check those guys out.
Well, thank you.
Just to remind everybody to stop by the shop anytime. We're open to talking, and a lot of people just like to kind of pick my brain, you know, so they can improve their own, you know, styles. Or we're a newer small shop in the Main Street area, you know, so we'd really like to sort of cater to